If you're feeling frustrated because you really want to get going on writing your business book, but you don't seem to be able to find the right structure, the right framework to put all those great ideas, all that knowledge, all that experience and expertise into a book-shaped format, don't worry. I'm going to give you a really easy method for planning and structuring your book that will pull it all together and turn it into a brilliant reader journey. I've been the published mentor of the Key Person of Influence program for over 12 years, and I've worked with well over 1,000 entrepreneurs, experts, business owners to help them plan and structure their book in a way that at first they might have felt was overwhelming and difficult to get into. But over the years, it's developed into a process that is really accessible, really manageable, and produces fantastic books. So this method was developed originally with 5 colours of index cards. We've now integrated it into Book Magic, so you can work with it there, and it's very simple and easy. But if you prefer to use actual index cards, that's absolutely fine. The first 3 are different kinds of text that you need in your book, and the final 2 are structural. So the first one is using white cards to find all the topics that you need to cover in your book. The second one is using blue cards to tell stories, case studies, and anecdotes. The third colour, green, is used for data, so research, charts, graphs, information, facts, figures. And when you've got those 3 out of your head and onto the cards, then you start to organise them into pink card chapters and yellow card overarching parts. So let's go through each one in a bit more detail. It's easiest to start with the white cards, the topics, and this makes it very unthreatening. So essentially, use your white cards to write the title of 30 approximately different topics that you need to cover in your book. Imagine that each of these topics will be about the length of a blog post, say 1,000 words. So when you've got the titles of 30 of these topics written down, you've basically got the content of your book, 30,000 words. All you've got to do is write them out. So these topics will be what you tell your clients in real life, what you work through with them. It doesn't matter at this point what order it comes in, just do it very intuitively. Get 30 ideas that you need to communicate to your ideal client in your book out of your head, and put the titles of them onto a white card each. So when you've got your 30 white cards done, then we move on to blue cards, and blue cards are all about stories, and these are really key to engaging your ideal client and making them know, like, and trust you. So by stories, I mean short case studies, maybe 250, 300 words, anecdotes about your own journey, your business journey, your life journey, whatever it is that is relevant to your client. So if you can think of about 10 or 20 stories, particularly case studies, that will illustrate some of your white topic cards, then again you have another layer of detail and structure in your book. So you don't need a blue card, a story, for every single one of your 30 white cards. 10 to 20 will be fine. Pick some of those where you know you have a lovely illustration for that topic that might be a case study, a client that you've worked with and brought a fantastic outcome for, or a story where you learnt this process in your own life, something that perhaps makes you vulnerable, shows that you were in the place of your reader once and now you know how to help them. So for your blue card stories, I would think about 300 words for each one of those. Just write the name of a client who would be a great case study. You might need to anonymize these, but that's absolutely fine. Or the anecdote that is going to be part of your journey you're going to put in, but they're not great long case studies. These are short stories. They're like illustrations that your reader will visualize. And the more variety of case studies you have, the more each of your readers will have a moment or two in your book where they'll go, yes, that's me. I want that solution. I am in that position. I've got that problem that this case study client had, and I want that solution. And that will all help them to come back and want to work with you. So now you've got your white and your blue cards done, move on to your green cards. And these are all about data, facts, figures, pieces of research, other people's work that you might be referencing, things like charts and graphs, percentages, all those sorts of things that are really useful and use another part of your reader's brain to process the information that you're giving them. So again, these can be matched to some of your white card topics. You don't need a green card for every white card, and you'll probably have fewer green cards than you will blue cards. But just have maybe 10 to 15 of those, so you drop them through the book regularly and you show that your knowledge and your content is backed up by real research and references. So the white, blue and green cards, the content of your book, 3 different kinds of text. And it hasn't so far been put into any particular order. I hope you'll have done that really intuitively, because that makes it quicker and easier. But now we're going to move on to structure. So your pink cards are going to represent your chapter headings. So now you need to start moving your white cards with their illustrative blue cards and their supporting green cards into a journey for your reader. And then you can divide those into equal length chapters. So as you move them around and create the structure from the white, blue and green cards, divide them into chapters, put a pink card at the top of each part of the content, and I would have no less than 6 and no more than 12 pink chapters. You can at this point just call them chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or more helpfully, you can give them names so you know what you're covering in each chapter. And now you have the basic structure of your book in place under your chapter headings. If you're not sure where to divide up your chapters, just think in terms of consistency. Although they don't have to be identical lengths, your book will read well if you've got approximately the same number of white cards, particularly in each chapter. It doesn't work terribly well if you've only got, say, 2 topics in one chapter and then 10 topics in the next chapter and then 6, and then you want to have a kind of consistency that helps the reader navigate through the journey. So if you're not sure how to break them up, try and do it just in length of chapter to begin with. And now finally, yellow cards, which represent the overarching parts of your book. Now, this doesn't necessarily work for every kind of book. You don't have to have your book divided up into parts. But if your book, say, falls into a beginning, a middle, and an end, or you might have theory, implementation and outcome. I mean, you wouldn't call the parts that, but if that's the sort of way your book falls into place, then put the chapters, group the chapters under a yellow card for part 1, another yellow card for part 2, and another yellow card for part 3. You could have 2 parts. It's a little bit sort of, heavy-handed. You could have 4 parts, but 3 parts, if your book works in that way, is ideal. I would also use a yellow card at the beginning to say introduction, because every book needs an introduction and it's not the same as a chapter, and another yellow card at the end, which is your conclusion or summary, because every book needs to end in a roundup, in a summary, leaving the reader feeling satisfied. So if your book falls into parts above the chapters, then use your yellow cards to have overarching parts to your book. So if you're having trouble structuring your book, that is a really easy and very effective way to get your book into a detailed book plan. Start with the white cards, just intuitively get as many ideas out of your head and onto cards. It's not set in stone at this stage. You can change them around later, you can add, you can take some out, you might turn some into chapter headings, another one into a case study, that's fine. But as a way to get started, getting the white cards out of your head and onto cards or strips in Book Magic, that will really help you start to get your book planned. And then when you've got that detailed plan in place, actually writing your book is a bit like painting by numbers. You've just got to fill in the details. It still works perfectly well to have actual index cards to plan the structure of your book. But I think that the best way to get this done, the fastest, the easiest, and the most enjoyable way is to use the planning function in Book Magic. If you want to know more about Book Magic, I'm doing a masterclass on it very soon, and Jonathan Farrar, our tech director, will be demonstrating the app so you can see exactly how it works. If you'd like to join me on the masterclass, register on the link and I'll look forward to seeing you there. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, follow the channel, and tell me in the comments how the planning of your book is going. I'll see you on the next video.